Every once in a while, I look back into my old videos just to see how far I've come. And for those who don't know, the reason why I started this channel is to work on my public speaking. And I've said this many times, is to work on my public speaking. And there are times that I talk to myself that there are things that I just want to get out of my head. And I thought YouTube was a great platform to me to just throw my thoughts on there. So I wanted to work on my public speaking, and just throw my thoughts on it. That's why it's called Thoughts of a Skin on Fly. And I was just looking at one of my old videos that I did like 5 years ago. It was about the episode of when Mr. Ratburn came out the closet, and everybody was having an uproar about it. And I gave my thoughts on it. Now the thing is, I'm looking at it, and I'm keeping the video up. I'm not going to delete the video, but it shows you how far I've come to where I'm more comfortable. If you're hearing it, I'm more comfortable talking about random issues. I still do things to say and things about that, in which I've gotten better at not doing that, because when I look at some of my old videos, I do it a lot. Even one of the comments is just like, "Yo, you got to stop saying like every time." And I told them I'm working on it, because even though I knew that was one of the problems that I have. And there's one of the things I was getting to, because in DC, if you ever heard people in DC, we talk like that. It's just, or we jive like, or what I'm saying. We jive. We try to get our information out, and sometimes we stumble over our words. And when we stumble over our words, we say like and or stuff like that. Is I don't have a thicker DC accent than most of my counterparts and most of the people I grew up with. Mine is a little bit of DC and a little bit of New York. Um, but I've always get into conversations with people, and even though I get my thoughts through, and everything I do is off the top of the head. So that's another thing. I know usually when I write it down, it sounds much better when I write it down. That's why my quick reviews are always written down and sounds better than some of my regular reviews where I just go off the top. Uh, Looking at this, but I was looking at the Mr. Rapper, and I was like, "Oh my God, get to the point, get to the point." I was bouncing everywhere. Let's just say, what it took 10 minutes back then, now I can do it three. Now I understand hindsight is 2020, but Jesus, you don't know how sometimes far you done come until you done seen it yourself. And I sometimes even look at some of the old videos I made back then on my other channel, which is the Oskino Film channels where I do reviews at, and I see how far I've come. And it was one thing. It was just I was working on it, so I worked on everything to where my intro, my how I'm going to do my intro, how I'm going to do my outro, how I try to break things down. I at least try to take notes. If I'm doing a movie, I should IMDb the movie, and this is what I did. Like if I'm reviewing movies, I will at least want to IMDb the synopsis. Like the things in the back. If people are old enough to know, understand, like if you ever see the back of a VCR, of a videotape, that's how back, or a DVD, and basically the back of the DVD it explains the movie in like a paragraph. That's what I try to do with my synopsis. And even like me trying to explain my thoughts on Mr. Ratburn, which is in short, because what, like I said, in short, I don't mind that they made Ratburn gay. I wish they would have gave him a backstory to lead him up. I understand what the author was trying to do to evolve LGBT into the cartoons, and I do think there is a way you can do that. With that being said, it was cute, but I feel like they could have done more. They could have gave him a backstory, and if you ever watch the episode, you don't know that he's gay until like the last 5 minutes. Now, if you're really going to push that envelope for kids, I feel like you have to put some things in there. And I've said this before about that. I said this before about Proud Family, and because I know a lot of parents, they don't want to expose that to their children, and which I also understand. But I also feel like there is a way that you can do it that both sides are real comfortable. You see that? I did that in a couple minutes. That took me 10 minutes to do in my old video. I just broke that down in like a minute or two. That's to me. That's how far I've come along. But again, hindsight is 2020. And sometimes I just be stuck on the topic, and I'm looking at myself. I'm just like, oh man, this is bad. But it's so. But like I said, I'm keeping it up. But it's so good that it's bad. And but even back then, when I was looking at, because I've looked at that video a couple times, because it got like um a good amount of views for a channel I just started from scratch. Obviously, I still haven't even reached 100 subscribers, but for a channel I started from scratch, and like it had seven comments. Once it had 7 comments. One of them was like, a couple of them was like, I appreciate what you was trying to say, and they were people from the LGBT community. Because I've always said this. Pose is one of my favorite shows, and that show, that's LGBT everywhere, everything represented, and I love that show too because it has good storytelling. So, and I've always said Pose is one of the best shows on TV, no matter how you feel about it. And it's funny because every time I say that, especially my sisters, they say, "I wouldn't expect someone like you to be watching it." And I tell them, I understand. I am a straight black man, and that show is usually for people that you wouldn't really catch a straight black man watching Pose. But my friend put me on it, and he was like, "Yo, just watch it. You will actually like it." I watched it. I like it, and I watched all the seasons. And still to this day, I tell people Pose is one of the best shows they ever put on television. The writing is phenomenal. Now, now, if you would have understood how today, now some of the videos I am proud of that, even though it takes like 30, because I used to go Sergeant Willie Pete long, like 30 minutes, and I'm always in my head, and I'm always in my thoughts, and sometimes um, I'm thinking of them as I'm walking through them, so sometimes they could be all over the place. I still ramble. I still ramble from here and there, but I'm trying to knock back the rambling and more or less like you get to a point. I do will still need some improvements in some things, like saying like in like I can hear, like I don't know if you can hear myself. I'm trying to make sure I'm preventing myself from stopping, so I do that. I take anytime where I feel like I'm getting too ahead of myself, I stop. I take a breather. I go. I can speak. And I learned that from BC Amplified. He does wrestling podcasts, and sometimes when he gets ahead of himself or he stumbles over his words, he'll say, "I can speak," and I took that from him. It was just like, I can speak, um, and that's helped me a lot. And sometimes it helps me gather my thoughts, which I do on my podcast now, and also, and because I do a podcast and I moderate the podcast. I have people that, in my opinion, they speak better. They get their points across way better than I do sometimes, and to me, that inspires me to try to get my words better all the time because it's just like, oh wow, these people, they'll say what I want to say, but in a more clearer and eloquent form, and I'm always happy to hear that. And it's just like, okay, I need to get there. So if you're listening, I'm going to for those who's watching this, and if you're curious how I sounded like 5 years ago, I am going to put a video I did 5 years ago where, like I said, it took me 10 minutes to get through the whole thing, where I could have got that done in 3. To now, I'm here. You're hearing me now. And if I sound the same, if you hear the improvement, let me know. If you feel like I need more improvement, which we always need more improvement, just let me know. I know Rome wasn't built in a day, but obviously You got to know where you're going, where you come from to know where you're going. I hope I said that right. Let me know what y'all think. Today, my name is Eskino Fly, and I'm out. Peace.